In case you missed it, last year a study evaluated the transparency of 10 of the largest AI companies. Do you know which one was the most transparent one? The results are pretty sad. I'll tell you the results in a moment, but I think this topic is a good warm-up for the upcoming video that discusses AI and how it affects our thinking, our information seeking, and the information landscape in general. So feel free to subscribe to this channel if you don't want to miss the future discussions on this topic. Anyway, according to my last numbers, I think that OpenAI's ChatGPT attracts 100 million users every week, and other AI systems are trailing just behind. So let me ask you this. Do you think we are experiencing an opaque, discrete tech revolution that mostly benefits the companies that run these AI chatbots? Well, it seems so. In a multidisciplinary effort to address transparency issues, researchers at Stanford University, MIT, and Princeton University evaluated 100 transparency aspects of the most common AI systems. The researchers used a 100-point index, the so-called Foundation Model Transparency Index, or FMTI, to score how transparent the biggest AI companies were. They looked at how the 10 biggest companies develop, operate, and use their AI foundation model. To clarify, foundation model refers to the core models that build more specialized AI applications like chatbots, translations, or image recognitions. You can imagine it like the dough that make the base for other types of food, for example. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's announce the winner, shall we? The winner with the highest transparency scores among the 10 tested foundation models was Meta's Llama 2. Llama 2 received 54 points out of 100? That's not good. Not good at all. Yeah, according to this report, the companies behind these AI systems aren't very transparent. In fact, the top 5 companies in this study scored between 40 and 54 points. The least transparent system, Amazon's Titan Text, received a futile 12 points. Although I have to add that while this study was published, Amazon explained that Titan Text was still under private review, indicating that their model's outcome may still be premature. So they might get a pass on this one. The top results might seem acceptable at first glance, but the authors expressed their concerns regarding this lack of transparency or this increased opaqueness. For example, none of the companies offered any market information, like user statistics or geographical locations. And strikingly, most of them didn't even disclose information about the use of copyrighted materials or labor practices. This opaqueness is a critical issue, especially considering how fast these AI tools have been introduced into the public space. So let's look at the 3 groups that I think would benefit the most for understanding how these AI systems work. First, we have the journalists and scientists. Yeah, I clumped these 2 into one common category, considering that they both do research for evidence. But both scientists and journalists need information about certain aspects of this black box that AI represents. I call it a black box because we don't really understand or know the inner workings of these AI systems. Scientists and journalists should know about the workings of these AI models to, encourage transparency, identify and addressing biases, evaluate ethical issues, raise public awareness, guide regulatory frameworks, improve the technology, safeguard user rights, and so on, and so on, and so on. All this to improve the user experience as the systems evolve and expand more and more. Similarly, policymakers also have a vast interest in these details. The current AI models pose severe issues and raise questions about biases, labor, and intellectual property. To make ethical and moral decisions, policymakers need to know where the information comes from or the working conditions behind these AI systems. And last but not least, the general public also has a vast interest in knowing where the information comes from for the same reasons as we saw before. We have an increased interest in knowing what sources make up the information that we receive. So do we need this type of opaqueness or lack of transparency? Well, companies sometimes cite market competition as a reason for the lack of transparency. So that may be a good reason to maintain secrecy, you may say. But secrecy is unnecessary, according to the authors. One of the authors of the study commented on that, saying that our intent is to create an index where most indicators are not in contention with competitive interests. Simply speaking, instead of the evaluators searching through the dense AI data, the companies themselves can update the system and receive FMTI points accordingly. With all this in mind, are there still reasons for companies to abstain from this type of efforts to increase transparency? And if so, what are the reasons? I don't think we really realize how fast this accessible type of AI has developed and expanded into our society. But as a result, transparency has become super critical. Look, AI will continue developing and expanding, and that's great. But we should emphasize the importance of understanding the sources and processes behind these technologies. It's a matter of public interest. I think this research has shown us that we have a long way to go in terms of transparency for this AI system. And it's not only about trust, it's also about accountability, fairness, and informed decision-making. So I think this call for transparency is something that should resonate with most of us. I don't know, what do you think? Should AI system become more transparent in the name of science and the public interest? Or do you think that companies should maintain this secrecy to advance the systems? Let me know in the comment section. Otherwise, let's talk more about this in the future. Peace.